If you're looking to buy or rent a home, you're going to want to see this story. Authorities are shutting down meth labs in record numbers in New York State. But many of those homes go back on the market without the new buyer ever knowing. News 4's Anthony Kanji is here with a special assignment. Anthony?
Well, Diana, this year in New York State, a record number of labs were busted, according to the DEA. These raids leave homes potentially filled with chemicals and residue. So how do you know your home isn't a former meth house? We went to get you answers. Methamphetamine has quickly become one of the most dangerous and easiest drugs to obtain and become addicted to in the United States. The internet and mass media have been major contributors, according to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency.
It's a quick high, it's very cheap to make, and the process is easy to conceal. And I only see the problem getting worse as the years progress.
And meth labs are popping up in places you may not expect. This is Crown View Terrace in Hamburg, seemingly any normal neighborhood with basketball courts nearby. But this house was the latest to be raided by the DEA for manufacturing meth. This operation was happening right under the nose and down the street of Steve Mikak, the former assistant chief of police of the town of Hamburg.
Well, you never can tell. I guess it's, any neighborhood in the good old USA, this stuff can happen. I think, like I said, geez, not in my neighborhood, but sure enough, come to find out that that's exactly what was going on.
But what happens to a house after the drug operation is busted? The DEA's job is to find, seize, and remove hazardous materials, but not to clean up the chemical residues left behind.
The responsibility of remediation in order to ensure that there's no contamination in the residence and that the residence can be inhabited once again, the sole responsibility lies with the homeowner.
Many times the property is sold or foreclosed on. Throughout the last few years, many reports from across the country claim that homeowners bought a new home only to later find out it was a former meth lab. In many of these cases, the new tenants reported serious illness and health problems due to the leftover chemicals.
Maybe there's some allergies or some other asthmatic symptoms or breathing problems that especially children might be having. The best way is to hire an industrial hygienist that can come out and conduct that assessment.
That type of air check and cleanup can run anywhere from a few thousand to several tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the size of the property. But how does something like this happen in the first place? There are 23 states that require full disclosure by a seller to specifically state if the house was a meth lab. New York is not one of them.
Sellers are required to disclose various problems that they may have had with the house, but there's nothing, specifically regarding meth labs.
So theoretically, I could buy a house and not know at all that something like this happened in my new house.
Correct.
According to Friedman, it's up to the buyer to do their own investigation. Legal action after the fact could be costly and difficult to prove.
They have to come back and sue the seller. It's very expensive. You have to have expert witnesses. So you need to do your homework in advance and have someone inspect the property for you.
He also says realtors may be ethically obliged to tell a buyer about the home's history, but are also not legally bound to do so. And how about renters? It is a landlord's responsibility to clean a property, but if a meth lab were inside an apartment, the landlord also is not required to disclose that information to the new tenant. On our website, we've posted extended interviews with our experts on what you should look for in your home or apartment that could be a sign of a previous meth lab. And if you're in the market, we've also posted tips on how to avoid living in a hazardous residence. Now, unfortunately, the DEA's National Registry of Meth Busts is not up to date for this year. But if you'd like to look at meth labs raided in previous years, we've also posted that information with this story on WIVB.com. Anthony Kanji, News 4.